Greetings from London in the UK. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the organisation that we run, a global platform, digital platform that was set up in, that's about 12, 11 years ago. And it was all about getting creative thinkers to use their power for social and environmental impact. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about the why we do that, a bit about what we do. So what future can we create as social entrepreneurs, as investors? Can we actually create and survive from where we are right now? I mean, that's the big challenge for humanity, isn't it? Will we actually survive and thrive? Well, we at Creative Conscience think that anything is possible. And we believe that really because this is a great quote from Albert Einstein, who said, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." Think about that for just a second. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. So as creative thinkers, it's our duty. It's our duty to use our minds to build a better world, right? As an organisation, we empower, train and reward creative thinkers to apply their talents to socially valuable projects, promoting sustainability, regeneration, freedom, social health and well-being. And that is the centre of every single thing. And why does creativity matter? Well, as we said, we're all creative, and creativity is a political act. How we think, what we choose to create, design, build, make, manufacture affects society, and it matters for all our futures. If we look back in time, creativity has changed the course of history. If we look at the civil rights movement, the women's suffragettes movement in this country, that was one of the first countries that got votes for women, even before that, the abolishment of slavery, it all came from people thinking differently about the way society was working. So how do we change what is around us, what isn't working for us? Well, it all starts with imagination. And Einstein said, I'm a big fan of Albert Einstein, he said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Think about that just for a second. Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to understand. So what we would love you to do is to really think about what's possible as you move forward in your careers, in your lives, in your daily tasks and actions. I'd like you to do something for me just for a second. And if you feel comfortable, we'll have some audience participation. Close your eyes just for a second. I'd like you to imagine a world where every single thing that we create, that we design, that we build, that we write, that we code, every single thing that we create serves people and planet. Imagine that world, if you will, for just a second. What would it be like? Every single thing that we create serves humanity and this planet. It would be a very different world, right? It would be a fairer, healthier, more just, sustainable, and regenerative world. And for any of you in this virtual room who don't believe that's possible, I can tell you right now it is, because there are businesses and organizations that are putting people and planet first, and they are successful and they are thriving. So my question to you is, who wants to be on the right side of history? Put yes in the chat if you do, because I know I do. So alongside imagination, we need other things. We need to have an openness. I'd like to share this with you. So last year, as an organization, we were invited to talk to 150 green tech engineers that were all working in the renewable hydro airplane engines field. So there were scientists, physicists, chemists, engineers. It was pretty daunting, actually. It was a room, we were there live. We were invited into that space to talk to them about what was possible, to inspire them as a business to think differently about what they do. And these are brilliant, brilliant people, mostly guys, I have to say. So we were invited in the room and we did workshops and stuff with them, but we started by telling them this story, this case study. So you may or may not know, but South Africa has a shadow pandemic. A pandemic which is a huge problem around gender-based violence. 7 women every day are murdered in South Africa. They have the highest rates of female genocide almost anywhere in the world, the same with rape, and more than 14,000 underage girls, some of them as young as 10, fell pregnant in the last 4 years in South Africa. Huge, huge problem. So as an organization, we worked with 4 different universities in South Africa. We work with policymakers, we work with NGOs, we work with writers and filmmakers to create an edutainment campaign that was going to go into schools and townships and youth clubs and cinemas across the entire country to change through psychology and really deep behavior change, toxic masculinity that's really, really painful and not supporting that country in its thriving future. So we showed these guys in the room, these amazing engineers, these amazing physicists all working on renewable hydrogen engines, this case study, and we showed them films and stuff. And at the end of the presentation, what sort of sat before me was a sea of faces, emotionless, unengaged, unimpressed, if you like, about the work that we've done. Why should green tech engineers, scientists care about what's happening to young women and girls in a developing world far away from, well, it's not really a developing world, but in a country far away from where they live? Why should any of us care about those women and girls? Every single thing changed when I showed them this next slide from the world's leading resource for climate solutions, Project Drawdown. If you don't know it, please check it out. On the 6th and 7th of this chart of the things that we can do, that we can focus on in order to create the solutions that the world needs to climate change, is the education of young women, girls, and the reproductive rights of women in the developed and developing world. So when we showed them this slide, they got it. They were so focused on what they were doing and the importance of what they were doing in their world, in their green tech. And yet what they were doing was far less important in this instant in terms of climate impact than educating young girls. So I'm telling you this story because I want you to understand, and Nicholas, I listened to Nicholas's talk earlier about energy and how we can think that these solutions are right, but unless we do a deep dive into the bigger world and to what's going on, we're not going to get to where we need to go to. So this brings me on to, well, I'll introduce myself. My name is Chrissy Levett. I'm a creative director, a designer. I'm the founder of Creative Conscience, and I'm an accidental social entrepreneur. But it brings us on to this idea of consciousness. So consciousness is the state of being aware of and responsive to one's surroundings. A person's awareness or perception to something, the fact of awareness by mind of itself and the world. And if we put creativity and consciousness together, using that imagination with that open-minded, looking really at what's going on, deep consciousness, we can get to the world that we think is possible, and that is a thriving future for all. There's an amazing quote by a Holocaust survivor called Elie Wiesel, and he said, "The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference." And we're living in a world that might feel like a really troubled world, but if we just switch ourselves off from it, become indifferent, we're not going to be able to create a future that we all need. I'd like to invite you to commit to something at the end of this conference. Choose, if you will, to join an ethical movement, to tap into your creativity and wake up your consciousness, and to embed social and environmental impact into everything that you do, everything that you create. Thank you for listening. We, as I said, we're a digital global platform, a virtual platform, and we do a number of things. We have awards for creative thinkers, students and graduates. You can enter any ideas that you have into our awards, and you might get an award. Your work will be shown on an international platform, and then we work with people to see if we can get those projects made real into life if they haven't already been created. We run programs, we are positive creative activists, and we also have events. We have a Creative Changemakers event that you can come online. In fact, I can send a code to Antanas. If anyone wants to come, we'll give you a code to join that. It's between the 16th and 17th. It's here in the UK, but you can join online. And then I'd just like to invite you to join our diverse and multi-talented community. We have creative thinkers from all over the world that support this organization. We're an NGO, a not-for-profit. And you can contact us if you have any questions. I promise that we will respond to you. Please follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Faceache, as I call it. We have a YouTube channel. And just a massive, massive thank you to all the team, to Antanas, and just, yeah, for inviting us in the room and giving us this platform to talk to you today. And I hope you've had an amazing conference, and get in touch with us if this is of any interest to you at all.